It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here mid-August trying to help you make better financial decisions. Now, if you have a question that's been eating at you a little bit, maybe it doesn't even have to eat at you. Maybe you're just wondering. Maybe you're trying to test a theory. Maybe you're trying to figure out how you and your partner can get on the same page. We'd love to hear from you. All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and of course, check the box to come on the air live with us. Mark does everything. He's the best producer, executive producer in the world. While you're on the website, check out all the stuff that's there for free, like our two podcasts, Jill on Money and Money Watch, as well as the free weekly newsletter, which Mark puts together every single Friday for your consumption. It's like a good warm-up for the weekend. You can also check out our new service. It's called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars. And the next one is coming up. Nate Burleson on Wednesday, September 13th at 7 p.m., the co-anchor of CBS Mornings and studio analyst for CBS's The NFL Today Show, will be coming on to talk about the NFL season. Right now, let's talk to Brian from Washington State. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Good morning, Jill. I'm doing well, thanks.
So I have to be honest with you. We were reading your email, and you used an abbreviation, and I had never seen it before, and it's NLT. And you should have heard what Mark and I thought that stood for. We had various permutations, but I think it's no later than. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Phew, God, we got it. Okay, that Google is so smart. So here's the sentence that caught our eye. I am going to retire NLT, no later than, June 1st of 2025. So we got a 2-year clock that's ticking. Why do you feel this is so emphatic? Why must you capitalize am?
Well, because, I think I closed that paragraph with working longer is not an option. June 1, 2025 will mark my full retirement age with Social Security, 66 and 8 months. I'm ready to retire now. And I'm trying to keep motivated every day to keep that nice paycheck I have coming in. So I guess I emphasize that with meaning, I am going to retire and figure out how to make this all work.
Okay. But let me ask you a question, Brian. If we could figure out a way for you to finish out sooner than 2 years from now, are you interested in that?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
65 in September. I'm eligible to start collecting my state pension then.
How much would that pension be at that time?
According to my estimates, monthly amount would be $3,072.
And if you waited 2 more years, what would it be?
$34.97.
And what is your Social Security benefit at that full retirement age of 66 and 8 months?
It would be $32.49 a month.
$32.49 a month. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your expenses. How much do you need to live on?
Based on my estimates, about $4,800 a month.
Okay, net, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So clean 4,800. All right. So we know that if you were to wait until 2 years from now, 3,500 of your pension plus the 3249 from Social Security after tax would probably give you about what you need, give or take. Now, what else have you done in terms of saving in addition to the pension and obviously the Social Security, which is coming to you, in the coming years? What else is out there?
I have an IRA that has right now, today's read has about $589,000 in it.
Okay. And that's a pre-tax IRA, right?
Yeah, it was a past employer 457B that I rolled over into an IRA. And then I have a 457B that I'm contributing to with my current employer, I'm contributing to that pre-tax, and that's got about 18,000 in it now. And then I have about $40,000 in cash savings.
And no Roth, right?
No Roth. No, I never got into the Roth game. I always made too much money by the time I was able to start thinking about a Roth retirement. Life was difficult for quite a long time financially due to a lot of life factors. And so I've really only been able to devote much time to this over 20 years. But
okay. Did you get divorced? Is that what happened?
Yeah, divorce, bankruptcy.
Oh my God, you came back, man.
A few other life events kind of set me back. So, really, I'm 64. I've only had, let's say, 20 years to start this savings process.
But you've done an amazing job.
Yeah.
You've come back, man.
It's worked so far, yeah.
That's great. Are you remarried, repartnered, anything like that?
I'm remarried to my husband, yes. We had a 15 or 16 year, what I call distance relationship. We lived 90 miles apart because of careers.
That sounds like a good way to stay together, actually.
Well, yeah, we never had time to get mad at each other.
Exactly. Phone fights and they go away very fast.
COVID put me on permanent work from home. My employer, there was a group of us that they said, you guys can just work from home forever.
Oh, so that's why maybe gritting out a couple more years doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, and I was able to move up to where he was because I can work anywhere within the state. And we bought a home and took on a mortgage. And
I want to hear more about that. But first, are we treating you as individual when it comes to your money, or should we factor in his numbers as well?
We can factor in what he has told me will be his retirement, yes.
Okay, so that's good. So what is that?
My figure, I think that he told me, is he'll bring about $2,900 a month pre-tax.
Okay, that's great. His $2,900 a month, is that Social Security or pension or both?
That's both.
And that's going to kick in soonish, in a year or so?
That will kick in September of 2024.
Wow. This is all happening like soonish. Wow. Okay. And you bought a home. How much is the house worth?
Well, if I believe the Zestimate on Zillow.
Yes, which will discount slightly, but okay.
Yeah, I think the last Zestimate was 536, something like that.
All right, I'm going to say 535. Okay, what's the mortgage amount?
It's $439.
And the interest rate?
It's really low, 2.85%.
Oh my God, that's great. Is that a 30 or a 15?
30.
Any other obligations besides the mortgage? Any other debt? Are you paying off some kids' student loans or anything like that?
No, neither one of us have long-term debt. We have credit card debts that pop up now and then, but our credit card debts are usually always paid off within 2 or 3 months.
Okay. More with Brian in a moment. This is the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's return to Brian, who's on the line from Washington State. What do you earn right now, Brian?
My gross annual pay is about $156.
You earn $156. Your husband earns some amount of money. Are we being real about that $4,800 a month? It seems a tiny bit low to me in terms of your need.
Well, my list, doesn't have vacations or, anything like that. It does have a potential car payment. Right now, we both own our cars outright, and neither one of us are the type to go running out and buy a new one It's mortgage, it's basic things like cable, internet.
What's like the kind of trip that you guys would go on that we should factor in? Because, you're going to travel, you're going to do some fun things. So how should we pad this? Should we add, 15 grand a year? Should we make your monthly $6,000 a month to give you some flexibility here?
Sure.
Okay. That seems like the right number to me. And let's just first look at, full retirement age for you, where you're going to have the 3,500, then you're going to have your 3,250 and his 2,900. And now it looks like we are in great shape, right? Because, you have almost 10 grand a month. We'll pay some taxes on that because you're good citizens. And you'll find that you'll be able to have 6 grand a month, like no problem. So I guess the question is, what, from your perspective, what do you hope happens here? Are you saying, can I possibly do it sooner? The answer is you probably could, but the plan works much better if you put in the no later than June 1st, 2025 for 2 reasons. 1, we don't have to actually pull money out of your account to live. And 2, you maximize, you get a little bit more in terms of your pension. And I think that you'll have that, that number, let's say that old retirement account plus your current one, you'll have that 600 grand, but you won't really have to do much with it. You really can just let that cook along, because it seems to me through your 3 different sources of income, your pension, your Social Security, your husband's, $2,900 a month, it works. It totally works. So what's your worry right now?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, my worry is we have a lot of disposable income, I guess.
Right now.
And
okay.
We won't then. But as I examine my life, we're both pretty simple homebodies. We do like to take a nice vacation. We went to Hawaii for 10 days earlier this year. And then I also I had a friend point out to me that your retirement money doesn't have all the deductions that your paycheck has.
Right.
And so I net $3,500 a paycheck, I think. Now,
so 7 grand,
7 grand a month. So, I looked at that and I thought, well, the retirement cut, and I only came to this epiphany a couple days ago. The retirement cut isn't going to be that big of a reduction. I think 18.
Right. That's what I'm telling you. Like, that's exactly what I just looked at. Like your 9,650 of your total income between your 2 streams of income, his stream of income, is going to get taxed on a federal level, right? So, it's not going to be a zero tax, but, you're going to pay tax on it. There's no state income tax in Washington state, right?
Right.
So if you look at it and you say you guys will be in the most of your income gets taxed at 12%, but it's going to be some of the 22%. And, you're going to have some deductions, but you should be fine. You should be completely fine. Let's just say that we're even low. Like with your 6 grand, we did 4,800. We added some money for vacation. Let's add another $1,000 for medical stuff. Maybe it's not today, but maybe you're going to have supplemental Medicare, and maybe you're going to have some bells and whistles. So let's even say that your need is more like $7,000 a month. If that's the case, I think that based on what you're telling me, just in terms of your income, I don't know, did you file with a standard deduction last year, or I'm wondering if your mortgage was enough to itemize. Do you remember?
We filed with a standard deduction because our mortgage interest wasn't enough to itemize.
So if you still think about that, right, let's just look at this for a second. You have, I'm going to just say ballpark, 120 grand a year of income. You have a standard deduction, which just for this year is 27,000. So there's going to be a tax on 97,000, 95,000, whatever, we'll some bells and whistles there. And, will your take home be 7 grand? Probably. I think that'll be just about right. And many of the things that we're doing here, like just in terms of padding the numbers, are important to remember that, like, Social Security is inflation adjusted. Is your pension inflation adjusted?
I would have to check into that. I don't think so. It's what's called a defined benefit pension.
But you work for the state or you work for a municipality?
I work for a county within the state.
I'm going to guess that it probably has an inflation adjustment because most municipalities have inflation adjustments built in. If not, okay, that's fine. But still, I feel comfortable with your game plan. I really do. I will say this. Right now, how much money are you putting away pre-tax?
10% of my gross.
What is there a match or not? There's probably no match.
No, it's a 457 plan.
I'm inclined, just because you already have more than $600,000 and we're talking about just 2 years, I'm inclined to have you reduce that. I actually don't think I'd even use it. I would probably just put the money in cash and build up your cash reserves in advance of that 2-year time horizon so that we end up having 1 full year at least in your cash account of your expenses. So in other words, I'm hoping that by the time June 1st, 2025 comes around, that your cash account is not 40, but it's more like 80. I would be more comfortable walking into the period of retirement with a higher cash balance that will be a buffer against bad things happening.
What would be the tax implication on that?
Well, you'd pay a little bit more in taxes. You're going to have to pay tax on all this money you've socked away anyway, and you're going to be in the same tax bracket. I mean, that $600,000 hasn't been taxed yet.
No.
And so when you're forced to take it out later, there will be tax due. And in fact, there may be a reason to start pulling some money out when you retire, okay? And you might say, well, I'm going to pull a little bit of the money out every year, stay within the 22% tax bracket. If you're there, we have to see what tax rates do. Start to diminish that so that you don't have to pull money out at age 75. But there's a long time between now and then. But I think that building up your cash reserve would be helpful. And, you know, again, the tax is going to be paid either today or the tax is going to be paid when you're forced to take the money out. And I don't think your tax bracket's going down substantially. I really don't. If you really feel uncomfortable with that, then what I'll say is that as the money comes in and you have extra cash, if you're like, well, we're not going to take a big vacation this year, it's not going to be an expensive one, then try to use extra money to beef up your cash position. So in the big picture, what I want to do is congratulate you for doing an incredible job of bouncing back from a really difficult time. And it's 20 years. You've made enormous progress. You are absolutely on track to do exactly what you want to do, which is retire NLT no later than June 1st of 2025. So I'm granting you a good night's sleep. Can you take that, Brian?
I certainly can.
All right. Send us pictures of from your next trip. I'm granting you peace, love, and retirement, NLT, June 1, 2025.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
If you've got a financial question, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. This is the program that attempts to take the mystery out of your financial life, or maybe helps you understand your priorities, and maybe will point out a different way to get to your desired outcome, because this is not about how to optimize your financial life. This is not about finding the greatest investment, probably one that doesn't really exist. It's really about you and what you are coping with in your life, and how maybe some of the financial things that you're dealing with are causing you some consternation, or you just want another opinion. Whatever the case may be, and whatever's going on in your life, we really would be delighted to assist you. Both Mark and I are certified financial planners. We like the big picture stuff. We can go granular with you as well. Anyway, anything like that going on, anything bubbling up, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and fill out the form. And if you want to come on the air, check that box. And Mark does everything else because he is the best executive producer in the world. Right now, let's go to Colleen, who's on the line from Pittsburgh, PA. Hello, Colleen. How can we help you out today?
Hey there. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
Yes, a couple months ago, unfortunately, my father passed away at the age of 85. And so a couple years before that, they sold their condo and moved into more of an independent living setup. And the proceeds of that home went into a TD Ameritrade account.
Okay.
And my two brothers, who are really savvy with investments and finances, they had kind of focused on a lot of different stocks, a lot of diversity, funds. And because of the market, it really hasn't gone anywhere. It's still around 280,000. And they're conservative. They're not really into a lot of crazy stuff. The only thing I noticed when I looked at it, it's about 68% information technology. It's basically all in Apple, and then the rest is just a bunch of diversity.
What kind of nonsense is that? That's not diversification. That's a bet on Apple. I mean, it's been a good bet.
Yeah.
It was a bad bet last year.
Yeah.
Individual stocks, I'm sort of surprised by that.
Yeah, it's like Apple and a ton of funds and ETFs and RIT. I don't really know the REITs. And my husband recognized a lot of them. He said, oh, yeah, they're conservative. They're making dividends. But,
Wait a second. I just want to say one thing. If you say to me, I don't want to throw your bros under the bus, but there's a $280,000 account, and this is being managed for whom? Is this that the three of you are splitting these proceeds?
No, actually, so a couple years ago, they were basically just using it as a backup for my parents, anything they needed. And they didn't really dip into it at all. It's just sale of home. They wanted it to be in the market. And they just put it in there and tried to, make some money, but nothing too crazy. My mom's 80. My dad was 85 when he died. Now, when my dad died, we got about $300,000 in a life insurance policy. And I just don't really know what to do with that. I don't want to put it all in Apple stock, but my brother's saying, oh, we'll do it safe, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Your mom is alive?
She is alive, but she's in memory care, so she really doesn't have any ability to manage this money.
Okay. All right. So now we have $280 in the TD Ameritrade, and there'll be another $300,000 in life insurance proceeds, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what other assets are in your mom's name?
She has about $50,000 in a checking account just with cash. Basically, they get pensions and Social Security and some long-term life insurance policy that pays for most of her memory care unit. And then it's about another $1,500 a month. And really, that's it.
That's amazing that she's in a facility and you actually only need to add $1,500 a month. That's pretty amazing. So we need to make sure that you can generate at least 20 grand a year from these assets. That's it. Maybe more in the future. I don't know. Now, let's get back to the original statement. My brothers are conservative. And you also said 68% of that account is in one stock called Apple, right?
Yeah.
So do you see, now you're going to laugh with me because now we're going to say they're not really conservative. They're not conservative at all. That is wildly aggressive. And I would say almost reckless. Okay. And again, I don't know your brothers. They're probably nice dudes. But first of all, no matter what, in this account, there has to be probably so when you have the 300 plus the 280, there has to be enough money in cash for the next 2 years. So we know that mom needs $1,500 a month, right? That's obvious. We know that. Could it go up if there were something? Would she need additional care? I guess that's what I'm asking. Is there any reason to believe that this is kind of the limit? Because it's not going to be much more than this?
No, it could go up because she's in an Alzheimer's unit right now. But if she would need full-time nursing care, that would go up probably double that.
Okay. So that's what I'm trying to figure out from you. Because if that's the case, then we need to have some of the money, not just the 50 grand that's in checking, but there has to be a part of this $580,000 that is kept in cash or some sort of cash equivalent. I mean, I'm fine if you had said, okay, we're going to spend the $1,500 a month from her checking account. Like, that's fine with me. But every year you then have to replenish that. You always have to have 50 grand available for mom. And that means that the account that is being managed by your brothers has to shift. There is way too much risk here. Way, way, way too much risk. There is no way for me to say in a nice way that like they're being a little bit nutty. Like, how did that feel in 2022 when Apple went down? I know it's back up, but you can see you cannot afford to have mom on that kind of a ride because it's just not suitable for her. I mean, honestly, like there's even the craziest broker in the world would never have 2/3 of an account in one stock for an 80-year-old woman in a memory care unit.
Yeah, it's 145 in information technology, which is 68%. And most of that's Apple.
Yeah. So that's too much. So how are we going to, but wait a minute, how are we going to do this with your brothers? We're going to like blow up Thanksgiving around this? How can we manage this process? You tell me, what's the process here?
I have a sister as well. And so there are 4 of us and we're all on the same page. We've gotten along really well through this really difficult process of having mom go into memory care. And I took over my dad's like month-to-month expenses a few months before he died. And I'm his executor. We're all on the same page and we're all saying, oh yes, definitely conservative. But one brother, I think they're both they're pretty big investors. And one brother even does some day trading. He's the one who kind of managed the account mostly.
We'll get back to Colleen in just a moment. This is the Jill on Money Show. And if you need some help, we'd love to be there for you. JillOnMoney.com is the website. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we went to the break, we were talking to Colleen from Pittsburgh. My suggestion is that you and your sister say to the boys, we get that you guys have been like managing this. We're so grateful. However, we don't want the new money to be invested as aggressively. And if they say, well, it's diversified, they're not conservative. And if there's a pushback on this, I think that you can say, we would feel more comfortable spending a few bucks, getting a second opinion and having maybe a fee-only advisor or a CFP look at this and give us an objective opinion. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Let's say that I was a court-appointed trustee for your mom right now, and I had the portfolio that had 68% in information technology. And this was forgetting about the 300 for a second, and some funds and some ETFs and some REITs. There would be a great case that I was like, basically, I could be accused of financial mismanagement. All right. So there has to be a much more stable part of this portfolio. I think we should really prepare for what if mom needed more care. And it's not $1,500 a month, but it would be $3,000 a month. And in that case, you could see how you could start plowing through money. I know when my mother-in-law, even who is never sick, by the way, but there was just a need for more care, more hands on the situation. Our expenses zoomed up in the last 2 or 3 years of her life by a lot. They have the money, which is great. You know, like your parents did a great job of saving, and this is really a lucky thing. And they have those pensions, they have Social Security. But I think you should be prepared for, who knows, if you had to do 5 years at 36 grand a year, that wouldn't seem so crazy to me, And that would mean that a chunk of this money has to be stable. Some has to grow for sure. That's true. But a lot of this has to be like locked down and stable. And I think it would be good for you to kind of get out of the line of fire by saying, I would feel more comfortable if we just had an objective opinion. You go to somebody and you say, I need an opinion on this because we're managing this for my mother. We are not seeking a new advisor. My brothers are going to keep managing the money, but we need an opinion. If you paid somebody it would cost a few $1,000s. I would do that.
How do I bring that up to them? Because I think one brother would be a little bit offended, like, oh, I can do this. I've been doing this. I do this on my own. I get all this advice, etc.
I think it's fair to say to your brother, I'm the executor of the estate. I'm a little uncomfortable because I'm worried that mom's going to need real money out of this account. And this is an account right now that is consistent with, I don't know, how old is your bro?
51.
Yeah. This is like a 50-year-old's account. This is all the money we have in the world. And I am concerned that if mom needed more care, that we would have to have more of this money available for her and not at risk. And you could say, hey, maybe you're right. Maybe you're like, let's keep the 280 invested exactly as is. Maybe the new 300 is used as like the, break the glass scenario, that it's bonds or it's fixed income or it's safer.
He was talking about laddered CDs.
Yeah, laddered CDs would be perfect. That to me would be the perfect thing to do. But I still don't get why they have chosen to essentially make this such a risky portfolio. I just don't get it. With all of that said, I don't want to be accusatory. You can go in from like, I'm fear-based. You can say, hey, it would be nice if you could get your sister on board. But even if you said that, like, I'm worried. I'm worried that mom's care costs could escalate. I'm worried that we need to have money that's really safe for her, especially in the next few years. And we're willing to forego the growth of this portfolio. And, I'm scared there's going to be another 2022, and I'm okay if we don't make as much money. It's really important that we preserve some piece of this.
Right. Don't want to lose any of it.
Well, I mean, you're going to probably end up, listen, you're probably going to end up losing at some parts of it, but other parts of this portfolio have to be locked down and safe. That's the way I think of it. And if he says to you, oh, you know what, that $300,000, I was going to make it all safe, then fine. Then I'm okay with that. But I still don't understand why I have individual stocks, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's mostly not. It's just that Apple. I don't know. Maybe my dad said to him, throw it in Apple, because my dad really wasn't financially savvy. He just kind of relied on my brothers and my brother-in-law for all right. So. Well,
I am absolutely keen to see what the response is going to be. I think you're being a very good executor and fiduciary for your mother.
Oh, thank you.
I really do. And these are the right questions to ask.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's just a lot.
Dude, I know. I mean, this is what I tell people. It's like exhausting to get an estate settled, right?
Mm-hmm. And they were really good. They made an irrevocable trust. They had all their ducks in a row, but it's just all the paperwork and all the phone calls and just, they even got my email wrong. So they didn't send me the right forms a month ago. So
it's brutal. It is just brutal. I just follow up after follow up after follow up. Colleen, you and I are going to go into business together. Estate administration. It's like you don't have to be and isn't it funny? You don't have to be a lawyer. It's just making sure you stay on top of it. That's really what it is. This is not legal issues. This is administrative, and it is time consuming. Are you taking an executor fee?
No, not at all. I'm a teacher, so I have the summer off. So
oh my God, what a fun summer for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for getting in touch with us. Let us know how it goes.
Yes, will do. Thank you so much.
Of course. Do you have an estate issue? Do you want to think about how to get this done the right way? You want to know how to talk to your family? Give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we conclude hour number one, we always like to do an email. So for you shy folks. Now, not surprisingly, this is an email from Anonymous. Okay, so check this out. Anonymous writes, I would like to donate money less than $5,000 and would like to do so anonymously. Makes sense, right? Anonymous, anonymously. How can I accomplish this? Are money orders a safe and secure way to donate money? Well, first of all, you can donate money anonymously. You can actually have the money go to the organization and say you'd like to remain anonymous. And I'm hopeful that that's all that you really want because, I guess if you're trying to donate money and not take any tax deduction for it, then you would do it anonymously. But you need a receipt in order to get that. And presuming if you itemize your expenses and you want that deduction, you're going to have to pony up your name. Do you want to donate money to an individual, to a 501c3? I don't know. I mean, money orders are certainly safe. You can get one from a bank, but if it's a charitable organization and you want some credit from Uncle Sam, you are going to need to have your name and social security number associated with the gift. Otherwise, I guess you can just do it. You can drop it off and go from there. But gosh, I'd like to know more about you and your anonymity. If you have a question and you would like to remain anonymous, that's cool with us. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write your note. Give us a lot of details if you're not joining us on the air. And if you do want to join us on the air, you can always change your name. It's fine. It's not a big deal. While you're on the website, so many things to do. You can check out the blog. We've got a resources section, and you can sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every single Friday, and Mark does such a great job with that. You can also check out my book. It's called The Great Money Reset. This is really an homage to all the conversations I had with you guys when we were going through the pandemic and people were really making big changes in their lives. Well, why make a pandemic the reason you change your life? Why not be proactive about it? So check out The Great Money Reset. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show, and we are trying to help you navigate different big decisions and small decisions in your life and your finances, in your investments, anything that's going on that is associated with a dollar sign. We'd love to help you out. All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. And that way we can get your note. And if you'd like to join us on the air, happy to do that too. Just check that little box. Right now, let's go to Mary, who's on the line from Virginia.
Hello, Jill. Hello, Mark. It's great to be here.
Oh, awesome. What brings you to us?
My husband told me, or we had this discussion recently, that he wanted to quit the industry. So I
don't like quitting. Wait a second. How old is he?
He just turned 47 a few days ago.
Oh, and he drops this bomb. What is that? Was it surprising to you? Did you know that he was unhappy doing what he does?
I know he has been very unhappy for a while. That's why when we talked about it a few years ago, we had this plan to pay off everything that we owe, especially the house. So we have 2 mortgages. So we plan to pay both mortgages before he retires.
Hold on a second. Before you do that, take a breath. How much does he earn right now?
It actually varies because he's in the home health care field. He averages around 175. But last year he made around $230,000.
$175,000? Oh my God, that's a lot.
He put in a lot of hours in. It's not your typical 8-hour job. I see him leaving the house around 7 a.m. to hit his first home, and then he doesn't come back until 7 after, and then he still has to do all his paperwork afterwards. So.
Oh, it's very draining also. It's draining work. I get it. Okay, And do you work as well, Mary?
I do. I work with the state.
How much do you earn?
I earn about close to 86, 87.
Okay. And how old are you, Mary?
I am 30. I'm turning 39 in a few months.
Oh, youngin'. Do you guys have kids?
We do. One is 11 and one just turned 7.
Okay. Very good. All right. Now, I'm going to get to the house in a second. I want to understand from the current situation, is your husband employed by a service where he has a retirement plan, or is he a sole proprietor?
He works with I guess it's a huge company, and they do have a retirement plan.
Does he contribute to that retirement plan?
He does. He maxes out his retirement plan every year since 5 years ago. I think that's where we decided to put everything that we have towards retirement.
Mm-hmm. How much money is in his retirement plan?
In his retirement plan, if I'm not mistaken, so he works in 2 companies basically. So, so first one, he has about 37,000, and on the second company, he has about close to 250.
Okay. And these 2 employers, neither he would be entitled to a pension, right?
Neither. No.
Okay. All right. Now tell us about you.
For myself, I have a 457, and that is close to 320,000. I am entitled to a pension, but it won't be able to use it until I reach 30 years in service.
Okay. And what age would you be at that point?
57.
Okay. Pension at 57. How much would it be, Mary?
From how I understood, it is 40% of my
highest 10 years or something like that. Okay. I got it.
It would be close to 40 grand.
Okay. That's great. That's awesome. Okay. So do you think you can make it to 57 at this job?
For me, I think so. I really like the place where I work. My team is just outstanding.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's awesome. So, all right, that's good. Let's put this aside for a second. So now we have his 2 plans, $200 and almost $90,000, 320 grand that you have in a 457. You'll have a pension. Do you have any other money that you have invested?
Well, we also have Roth IRAs.
Tell me about that.
It's not very much. It's his is close to 15 grand. Then mine, it's around 27 grand.
Okay.
And then we also have a taxable
brokerage account.
That's right. And then that is close to 38 grand.
And what about just safe money, bank, I-bonds, CDs, anything like that?
We do have total cash of 14,000.
You say we're going to get to the house in a second. Do you have any other debt besides housing related debt? Do you have credit card debt, car loans, anything like that?
No, it's just the 2 houses that we have, one primary and the rental property.
Okay, let's do your primary residence first. How much is it worth?
It's worth around close to $500,000.
And what is the outstanding mortgage balance?
The outstanding mortgage is close to $195,000.
And what is the interest rate on that mortgage?
2.5.
And it's a 30-year?
It's 15 years.
Now, the rental. How much is the rental worth?
The rental is close to $357,000. And then I think we have $86,000 left.
What's the interest rate on the rental?
That's 3.5.
How is the rental doing? Is it a pain in the neck? Do you like it? Is it generating a lot of cash flow? How's it performing as an asset?
For me, it's quite all right. But there was a point wherein we started doing some maintenance on on the property. It was advertised to us a long time ago. We were told that real estate is really good. It's that passive income, but that's now we just realized that it's not really that passive. So
yeah, exactly. That is so true that what you say, it's like people don't get that. So how much income does it generate right now? When it's rented, what is the monthly income that it's generating?
Just by looking at the annual tax for last year, it was $21,000.
Okay, but that's the $21,000 after depreciation and all that stuff, right? Or is that real cash in?
That's real cash in.
Okay, got it. The kids, do we have any plans to save for education for them, or is that sort of backseat to retirement?
We actually started putting a lot of money in their 529s.
Mm-hmm. How much do you have?
We have about $25,000 for both kids.
Great. We'll get back to Mary in just a second. Are you thinking about a new career? Good idea? Bad idea? Maybe this is something we should talk about. All you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. If you need a little assistance, both Mark and I are certified financial planners. We love that big, holistic look at your life, but sometimes we also like to hear the details of your life, your personal life, because you are more than a mathematical equation. We are not trying to find the best decision. We're trying to find the best decision for you, for your family. And that's why we really encourage you to get in touch with us. All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. If you want to spend a few bucks, you may be interested in our new service. It's called Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars and lots of bonus content. Our next live event will be Wednesday, September 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Nate Burleson is our special guest. He is the co-anchor of CBS Mornings, and he's also the studio analyst for CBS's NFL Today show. We're going to talk about the upcoming NFL season, the business of sports, and of course, his love of personal finance, because that's how Nate rolls. Right now, let's get back to Mary from Virginia. All right, so just make sure I got everything down here. We got your husband is working his tail off.
Yeah.
You are happy state employee, doing well and putting money away. You got the 2 kids, you got the education, you got these 2 homes. Would you be willing or interested in selling that rental property or not?
That's one of the things that we've discussed recently, that he's thinking about selling it as soon as the contract expires, which is next year.
Because it's like a pain in the neck. It's not that much money and you want the equity.
Correct.
I got it. Good. I'm all in on that. I really am. Now, let's say that he does get out of home health care. Is he thinking that he can do something else with himself and his skills? And, could he earn some money somewhere?
I think so, because I know that he's not a homebody. He wants to do something.
How much do you think we could count on him earning?
That's a good question. We really never discussed about it. Maybe 50, 75 grand.
I wrote down 75 because it's a nice round number. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, if you look at everything that you've got, you guys have accumulated quite a bit, Mary. If you look at what you have to spend, your expenses, do you have any idea what your real expenses are? Forget about the rental for a second, but like the mortgage, you've got 2 kids who need stuff. You're living your life. What do you think you need on a monthly basis for income?
We're looking at 10, 11 grand.
Okay. 10, 11 grand a month. As you approach this situation, tell me what you want to really understand. Do you want to understand whether or not he can not have a nervous breakdown and change his career? Is that what your basic question is?
Yes, because I know that I think he's just tired.
He's fried, dude. He's fried. He is just absolutely, he's done. I mean, and it's okay. That's okay, because we don't like to have people work till they are, just killing themselves. So that's not fun.
Can he do that job on a lesser basis, cut back the amount of people he sees every day and just do it part-time?
That's one of the things that we were discussing, that I told him that which one is the lesser evil, right?
Right. Yeah, because it's scary. It is scary to change. Here's what I think. If he's willing to do anything, either cut back, let's say he works half as much, all right? Even he works even more than that, less than that rather. But if he can generate $75,000 a year doing that or something else, you keep working as is. Mark, do you think that if they do that for, 20 more years, that there is a chance that they can generate this income need of $10,000, $11,000 a month? Do you feel comfortable with that, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, she's 39. She wants to keep working. She's going to keep accumulating. She's going to have the pension. There's the rental property. Whatever they're going to do with that, I don't know.
I want to sell that sucker. Goodbye. Here's what I think. I think you can do this. I really do. I think that your compulsion to pay off your mortgage is misguided. I really do. Here's what I'm going to suggest. I think that number one, if he's willing to work and earn $75,000 a year and you make $87,000 a year, he doesn't even have to put a lot of money into retirement. But you guys need to sell that rental property, and that has to go into the brokerage account. And you have to stop paying your primary mortgage down. You should just let that run its course. It's fine. You're going to need your cash flow.
There's only like 9 years left.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this is going to just be done anyway. And then you have that freed up cash flow that you're using to pay down your primary mortgage or paying down the stupid rental property. You could take let's say you clear $250,000 from selling the rental. You can put a bunch of money in each of those 529 accounts, and you can have college pretty much taken care of, at least for a while. You can just really be smart about this, and your retirement will continue to accumulate, and let's see how it goes. And in 9 years, the mortgage is going to be gone. The 11-year-old is basically, in college. You're going to have a lot more information. I just think I don't like the idea of somebody working working so many hours that he is like, when he is actually saying he's unhappy, that's not just unhappy. That's like, I'm dying inside. And I don't like that. And you guys, because of your pension, could be really, really set, because you'll have your pension. Will you be entitled to Social Security or not?
Yes, we both are.
So you'll have 2 Social Security checks. You'll have your pension. You'll have a lot of income, and it will be cost of living adjusted. And you'll also have your savings on top of that. But I think to make this transition, you'll want the liquidity of the sale of the rental property. That's what I think you're going to need. Do you feel like he's going to be able to hear that?
I think so. That he's. I know that we were focused on paying both mortgages, but because of this transition, I think that is a better route.
Yeah, think about this. When you are in a transition, I write about this in my book, that when you're in transition and you're resetting, access to liquid money is the key element. The key element. And you really need to focus on that. Having this emotional, I got my mortgage paid off. You don't have the money anymore. Now you're forced to either sell the property or hang with it. And by the way, when you have any sort of mortgage debt and it's this cheap, you really should not be paying it off. It's not like when you have if you look at a huge real estate company, they always have debt. Why? Because it's a smarter way to leverage a home or leverage a building. You have borrowed money enhances your return. So let's have that same principle in your financial life, in your personal financial life, which is access to money. And if I am, and anyone else out there listening, if you have rental property, you should have a mortgage because it's actually going to help enhance the rate of return on that property. So I have to ask you this, life insurance on both of you?
Yes, we do. Ours are close to $1 million each.
Great. And it's term life?
It's term life insurance.
Great. And what about your estate planning? Do you have a will? Do you have a power of attorney? You have that stuff done?
Yes, we do. We do need to have it updated just because of those that we placed in our will and our POAs, they moved.
Oh, Mark, that's a big downside. You got to make sure you don't have transients. So you should update those, but you're in great shape. Tell your husband to take a deep breath. He's got some decisions to make. Maybe he starts quickly, like making a shift just now, like just work fewer hours, man. Maybe he'd like it more if he could work fewer hours. You know, I talk a lot to frontline workers during the pandemic, and many of them said that like once they took a little bit of time off and they went back to it, a lot of nurses, many doctors, what they said was, as long as I didn't work too much, I reminded myself I liked my job. Maybe he hates it, I don't know, but working less is certainly the first step to figuring out what it is that's really driving this discomfort and this unhappiness.
Right.
If you have a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And you know, if you're shy, you can just send us an email. That's what Lena did. Here is her note. Do I have enough to retire early if I want to buy a new home? So I think it's very funny because it's like, maybe I was sort of about like, yes, maybe not. We'll see. All right. So this is what Lena says. I'm a burned out marketing professional. I want to take a break or retire early. Here's the question. Do I have enough money to do this? I'm single, no kids. I turned 50 in July. Paid off home, that helps, $460,000 in value. Cash, $275,000. Almost $1 million in brokerage account, which is, you ready for this? In Apple stock. Massive capital gains. And then another almost more than $900,000 in a 401k. 100 is Roth. Okay, at age 65, remember, that's 15 years from now, small pension, almost $2,000 a month. And then Social Security, about $3,000 a month. Expenses are $5,000 to $6,000 a month, but that's because I pay a lot in taxes. Wow, Mark, $350,000 is salary. Anyway, she said she thinks she can get by on $4,000 a month. Okay, you ready for your questions, Mark? I'm going to have you actually answer it. Number one, can I retire early? Number two, can I afford a new home in case I have to take care of aging parents? And that new home would mean the paid off home, $460,000, she'd have to spend about $500,000 more for a total of $1 million. Okay. And then she'd have that house. So I'm going to answer the easy one. Can I retire early? I think the answer is an unequivocal yes, that she can. What do you think about the new house, Mark?
I agree with you on the first question. Yes. The new house, that makes things a lot more complicated. That's $500,000.
Oof, really complicated. I don't think she can do that. And because there's two things. One is either you're soaking up the liquidity from the brokerage, or you're taking on a mortgage, which then pops your expenses up. Can't you rent something? Greg sends a note. He says he spoke to us last year about early retirement. And he says, I opened a brokerage account as you recommended. Unfortunately, my significant other had some medical issues, and I had to stop working to care for her. The gory deets. I'm 54, retired military, free medical, house paid off, truck paid off, no debt. My pension covers all of my required expenses, but I had like about an extra $1,000 a month for pocket money. I've got $160,000 in a 401k, $70,000 in a brokerage account, $45,000 in savings, $10,000 in company stock, $15,000 in some vacant inherited land. Social Security should be $1,400 a month at age 62. So he says between now and Social Security, right? He's 54 to 62. He says I can cover my need. Should I put my savings, sell the land and stocks in the brokerage account? I'd keep 10 grand in savings either way. I assume I'll only pay tax on the capital gains in the brokerage. Yes. I don't love him spending all this money down, Mark. Makes me a little nervous. So he needs 12 grand. So here's the deal. Definitely sell the land, sell the company stock. Now you've got that 25 grand added to the savings, right? So now instead of, you have 70 in a brokerage and 70 in savings. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I was thinking about seeing if he can potentially use the brokerage and whatever he sells, if that could get him to, 59 and a half, and then instead of draining the savings, he can start then using his 401k.
Yeah. And then pay it on, he's going to have a lower tax bracket, but he's not going to go, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. You're close, but I am somewhat concerned that you plow through all of your money, your liquid money. So maybe if it's possible, so we've got to have 6 years. We have to get $72,000, which, he would pull out, he basically would get rid of, he'd use all of his savings. He'd have to sell some of his brokerage and savings. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about this plan, Mark. I'd like to know more about you, but I'm a little bit worried about it. I don't think this works perfectly. If you could go back and work part-time for a couple of years, that makes it work. That's what I would say. Eileen wants to know about long-term care. And she said, I have been thinking about getting a life insurance policy that has a cash indemnity long-term care benefit plan. It's $5,200 a year for 10 years. Has a 3% inflation protection rider. You can cancel any time, get half your money back. Death benefit of 60 grand. Husband and I are both 52. We plan to work for about 5 more years. Our financial advisor said we'll be able to retire in 4 years. We have no debt. They have $800,000 in a 401k, $300 in a Roth, $100 in a traditional IRA, and about 40 grand in cash. They make $150,000 a year, and they put $30,000 into their Roth and 401ks. Expenses are 60 grand a year, and our combined Social Security should give us about $6,000 a month, and hers alone would give them $3,500 a month. My financial advisor believes this would be a good move. He is suggesting that we bring down the percentage going to the 401k to cash flow the cost of this inflation-protected long-term care / life insurance policy. Mark, what's your opinion on this?
The advisor is saying they can retire in 4 years. They live on $60,000 a year. Where are they getting $60,000 a year at 56 years of age on basically $1.2 million?
I had that was my number one thing that I thought. I think that what the advisor might be saying is this. I think the advisor is saying if they work for 4 or 5 more years, they can spend down some money, I guess, they don't have any non-retirement assets, really. They have 40 grand in cash. I don't think that this makes sense to me. First of all, who is this advisor? Is this an insurance salesperson? Is it a fiduciary? That's number one. Number two, I don't even think they really need long-term care benefits. What I think they need to do is work. And I think they need to work till they're 59 and a half. And then I think it works. If you'd like to get in touch with us, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we are here for you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make some better financial decisions. It could be any topic. It could be estate planning. It could be education funding. It could be how to buy a home, how to upsize, how to downsize. Are you going to actually purchase a home with mortgage rates at 7%? Maybe you can afford it. Who knows? Get in touch with us, and we can help you out. Here's an email from Keith. Oh, this is interesting subject. Donor advised fund. I love donor advised funds. I'm going to explain it in a second. My wife and I are trying to figure out the best way to optimize our tax situation. We itemize taxes every year, but we are just a few $1,000s over the standard deduction. We're planning on rolling our next year's charitable giving into a donor advised fund from a brokerage account we currently have. But next year, as we build up our following year's fund, should we save in a brokerage or savings account, or are there other things we should be considering? All right. So let me just say that a donor advised fund is a very cool thing because you can contribute either cash or highly appreciated securities into that fund. And then you can dribble and you can take like one big chunk of a itemized deduction for the year you make it. So maybe if Keith and his wife are having a big tax year, 1 year, you can put more money into your donor advised fund, can really make a big difference. It's a great way to control your taxation. When you're thinking about the donor, I think you're asking about how to invest in the donor advised fund yourself. But next year, as we build up our following year's fund, should we save in a brokerage or a savings account? I mean, what I'd like to do with a donor advised fund is to try to contribute highly appreciated securities. That's why I like investing it and having it in a, again, it depends how often you're going to do this, but I like a brokerage account. If you have a rotten year, you don't have to make a contribution for that year. And if you have an awesome year and you've got a huge appreciation in your stock, you can throw that into your donor advised fund, not pay capital gains on it. So that's what I like. Give it a shot. I use just full disclosure, I use the Fidelity Charitable Trust. I think it's amazing. So easy to use. Okay, this next one is from Joanne, who says, I would like to retire next year at age 62. Want to figure out when I should take Social Security. By the way, do you think Social Security will run out or be adjusted downward? Should I be concerned about this? Okay. First of all, big picture, she goes on to say, my husband's 69. He is retired. He will take Social Security next year. Oh, and it'll be almost $4,500. I am 61. After taxes, I make $48,000. I don't contribute to an IRA or a Roth anymore, per the advice of her certified financial planner. They spend $6,000 a month. They deduct it from the brokerage account. Take home pay is savings emergency. They have IRAs of, holy smokes, Mark, almost 2.9 million, Roth of 292, brokerage account of $400,000, checking and savings 33, $400,000 house, no mortgage, no debt, medical savings account $29,000. All right, here's her Social Security breakdown. If she waits till full retirement, $3,200 a month, and if she takes it now, it's $2,200. It's $62. Do you think Social Security will run out or be adjusted downward? I do not think that will happen in the time horizon that you are considering, Joanne. Okay, I do think that in future years it could be, but right now I don't, and I don't think you should worry about it. In terms of when you should take it, I mean, it's hard for me you have so much money. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I think you're going to wait till your full retirement, because then your full retirement and his Social Security basically covers everything you need. And then what I would start to do is, if you retire, you can pull some money out of your traditional IRA, pay the tax on it, just use that. We need that to get dwindled down a little bit. You're just going to get slammed with minimum required distributions. Take money out of your traditional IRA to fund the gap between your need and your husband's Social Security, and do that for a few years. Start getting money out of that account, pay the tax that's due, and don't worry about it. They're going to get slammed with RMDs. This is like a very perfect example of how that can be so daunting for people. That is a lot of money that you have in that pre-tax account. That I don't think there's any other way to do it. I really don't. Good luck, and thank you for writing. Let's see. Joseph refinanced his house. He's got a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, but I'm going to pay it off in 15 years. The interest rate is, wait for it, Mark, 6.75%. Yowza. Okay. $290,000 loan. Household income is $150,000. I'm 48 years old, and I'd like to have the option to stop work in 15 years. In retirement accounts, that's where they do most of their savings. $1.3 million total, about 3/4 in stocks, and the rest in bills and cash. Okay. I don't think you should pay off this loan in 15 years. I'm more interested in seeing if in the next few years, I would make minimum payments right now. And then I might be interested to see, hey, what would happen if you could refinance it and stretch it out some? And that way you can save some money outside of your retirement. Because, you're very hyper focused on, I want to stop working in 15 years. But if you stop working, you've got the house, maybe it is paid for, but there may be need for you to do something different with your cash. And I'd hate for all that cash to be plunked down in your house, and then maybe the housing market changes. If you'd like to talk to us, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. Before we conclude the program today, let's squeeze in an extra email. This is from Maureen, who writes, I'm looking for advice on how to sell a business. I have a business that is in the arts and children's space. It's doing very well. My concern is finding just the right buyer. Any suggestions? Well, this is very difficult because I don't know anything about either of those businesses. But what I can tell you is that you probably have some competitors, and maybe if you are interested in selling, the first thing to do is to look around and say, who's a competitor that I respect? And would that person be interested in buying my business? If it's a business that you think could be absorbed by someone else and you want to stick around, that's one thing. If it's that you really want to get out for good, that's another thing. Whatever you do, whichever direction you turn, you are going to need an idea of the valuation. What's your business worth? And maybe it's just some multiple of your sales. Maybe it is something very special that has a different way to value it. But you might need to engage someone who does transactions like this, one that hopefully has a little bit of experience in your field. And one other idea is to maybe consult some of the people around you. Maybe if you've got a lawyer or an accountant and someone who is dealing with other businesses like yours, I might turn to them as well. But I'd love to hear more about what's going on, and you can just reach us by following up. Very interesting to hear about people who sell their businesses. In fact, one of the chapters in The Great Money Reset, my recent book, is dedicated to people who are not just starting businesses, but using a reset in terms of selling their businesses. Maybe they're sick of it. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for your note. And if you have a question for us, all you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com. And remember that everything of ours lives on that website. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is the executive producer and web king. I encourage you to lift someone up. It'll make that person feel good. It's really going to make you feel good. Really. It happens every single day. People tell me this. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.